So welcome everyone to the Community Health Worker Table Talk, the who, what, and why of community health workers. This community health workers are the reason that this table talk exists. And we're very excited to get started with several of our guests who are from other agencies that have community health workers, as well as our own community health workers. I don't know why I keep saying table talk. All right. So welcome again to the Quad County Urban League. I'm going to remove the flyer here for 2 seconds as I let Julietta in. She's here. Yay.
Okay.
Hey, Julietta.
Hi.
All right. We're just getting started. I got to turn up my volume. You guys let me know if I'm talking too loud. All right. So again, welcome to the Quad County Urban League Community Health Worker Table Talk, CHW Table Talk. Today's topic is the who, what, and why of the community health workers. And I want to first start out by saying thank you to Theodia Gillespie. She is our CEO president. She is the helm of our organization, the Quad County Urban League, where we serve 4 counties, Will, Kendall, Kane, and DuPage counties. We have services such as youth and education, workforce development, as well as our community health workers and small business network. We have been in the community for 45 years, with Theodia leading us for the past 29, 30 years. With that, our goal is and vision is to provide support, tools, and resources to those who are working to become self-sufficient and be able to help them to move through education as well as career so that they can become self-sufficient in taking care of themselves and their families. Now, that our population that we serve is African American especially, but we also look toward servicing our Latinx community as well as our women and those who are underserved and those who are disabled. So with that said, I want to introduce, did I say who I am? I didn't. My name is Elisa Williams, and I'm the Chief of Staff here at the Quad County Urban League. And with that, I am going to now introduce Barbara Collins. She is the supervisor for our community health workers under the auspices of our Illinois Department of Health grant. Barbara Collins, take it away.
Hey, all right. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that all of you were able to join. Like Elisa said, I'm part of Quad County Urban League, but definitely the community health worker supervisor, and currently have 3 community health workers out of Quad County Urban League that are doing great jobs. What we started doing a year ago, I think our vision was to help people that were in need, whether it was providing resource requests, food, utility assistance, whatever that was needed. And that's what our community health workers do. We are the link between the health departments and the CBOs. So we communicate with other CBOs, which is community business. What is it?
Organization.
Community. I'm sorry, just lost my train of thought. But anyway, we communicate with other agencies, and those agencies, we work together so closely with NAACP agencies in Region 7 mainly, but we are definitely working on trying to do more outreach, more community assistance. And like I said in the beginning, we were helping with different resource requests that people needed who had tested positive for COVID and they weren't able to get out, but we were able to provide food and whatever kind of assistance they need. But right now we're focusing on outreach. So we will be looking at different events in the community, whether it's in Joliet or Romeoville or Bolingbrook. All of Region 7 is what we currently serve on this grant. So I just wanted to thank all of the community health workers for all the hard work they do. they are the people that really communicate and reach out to the people in need. So I just want to thank each and every one of you. And I will turn it back over to Elisa. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. So with that said, I am going to jump right in because we have a great list of folks who are joining us. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves and their organization. I will just start right away with Miss Tamika Booker. I'll go to Julieta and then Melissa, and then we'll check out Elizabeth, Michelle, and Michelle. Take it away, Tamika. Tell us who you are, organization.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tamika Booker. I am with the DuPage County NAACP, that is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. The organization itself has been around since 1909, so yes. It's a very old organization. I am with the Health Committee. I am the co-chair, and I'm very happy to be on the call with you all tonight.
Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Julieta, please tell us who you are and your organization.
Yes, I am Julieta from Immigrant Solidarity DuPage. This organization has been around since 2007, so they're 15 years old, and I've been with them since 2011. And also, I've been a community health worker since the program started.
Oh wow!
And it's a very impacting experience because many of our Latino community here in DuPage have been hit really difficult with the COVID, with the pandemic. And it's been a struggle to come around to everyone to try to get everyone motivated to vaccinate.
Yes.
But it's we're getting there and everything. I think the bottom line is what we do is simply try to get to that community that doesn't have the knowledge of resources that there are to help them, or to advocate for what their needs are to those in authorities in Illinois that may not understand. Okay, the people need this now, and we could be the voice for them as well.
So. All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Julieta. How do I say your name? I don't want to say it wrong. I think I did already.
That's okay. Julieta.
Julieta. Got it.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Elizabeth Bonancio. Please tell us who you are and your organization.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Bonancio, and I am from the Spanish Community Center here located at Joliet, Illinois. We serve regions 7 and 8 from Will County to Kankakee County. We've been around for about a year now here at the CHW program. We serve mainly the Latin community, but we're also serving all minorities and everyone here at the community. So we aren't just specifically for the Latinx community, but we're for everyone here.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. And then I have we have two of our community health workers from the Quad County Urban League. I want them to introduce themselves. Melissa Cabral, who is one of our hosts for tonight. She invited each of you. Melissa, could you introduce yourself and tell us about your organizations, because you're from two.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Melissa, and I'm a part of Quad County. Been a part of it for over a year now. And not only that, I'm also working with the VNA Health Clinic, and that's like in various locations, 2 in Aurora, spread out Bensonville, Romeoville, Joliet, Carroll Stream. And I've kind of worked a lot of those different locations. But I have just been simultaneously helping out both with like the vaccination side with VNA, and then helping out with a lot of resources with Quad County. So being bilingual, I have helped, I would say the vast majority of people I've helped was the Spanish speaking community, especially in Will County area. So it's just been a great pleasure to be able to use that, that skill to be able to empower the Latin community.
Yes, yes. I love that word, empower. That's the word of the night, everyone. You'll get a bonus every time you use it. All right, Michelle Griffin. She is also here from the Quad County Urban League. Please, Michelle, introduce yourself.
I wanted to make sure I unmuted myself before I started talking.
Technology, oh my God, right?
As always, I'm excited to be here and excited to be of service. And that's the one area that I'm always, certainly excited to not only provide the resources, but answer the calls as need be for the service for both food and disinfectant or cleaning supplies. So this is it's been a great opportunity, and as Melissa already stated, we're serving Region 7 and Will County specifically. However, this started, in April 2021 for myself as well, when we were, supporting both Region 2, 7, and 8. So to be focused primarily right now on Region 7 and specifically on Will County. In the midst of that, of course, I have the one major story that I can, want to bring up here. The family that we were able to support is a family of 5, and with IDPH, support, we were able to at that time, and this was back in January, to get them, I call it the bridge over troubled water. All of us know where that comes from.
Is that where you got that bridge behind you?
But I'm sure a lot of us know where that phrase comes from. And I am certainly, again, when even asked, would I be interested in community health worker type services? I said, of course, because I'd rather be of use for the greater good of the entire community as best we can. So I am glad to be that, and glad that we have serviced Will County, and glad that we have served as that bridge over a tough time, especially those that have been impacted. They were the Pacific family that I'm speaking on right now.
Before you go there, Michelle, I do want to clarify some things, because we want to really kind of educate our audience, right? So I know each of you have talked about your organizations, but I guess what my first question is going to be is really, what is a community health worker? We hear the term CHW, we have our talks every couple weeks, but I really wanted to specify and focus on our community health workers, which is each of you, right? So what is a community health worker? And I'll start with you, Elizabeth.
Personally, to me, I guess a way that I've always thought of a community health worker is basically like a bridge to, I guess, many different resources that we connect our clients and our patients to, an advocate for the community and to other people, that the voice that they don't have, that we can share for them. That's how I feel like a community health worker can be defined as.
Okay. All right. And she used that term, Michelle, bridge. How do you define community health worker? Michelle.
You came back to me? Oh, okay.
I came back to you because we got that bridge going on.
Yes. As far as the definition of, again, truly, it is a bridge over troubled waters. Whether you've been impacted by COVID, the person themselves, or they were exposed because they were elsewhere, and they get the notice that because you were here at this given time, you were exposed. And you still need the resources for the community as community health workers to make that call over and over again. They ask that we at least attempt it 3 times, and that's what us as community health workers have been able to do to establish the verbal contact, and then make sure the resources are delivered to the proper address.
Got it. Got it. Now, you're talking a lot about resources and helping the community. Tamika, can you expound more on maybe what community health workers actually do?
Yeah, so I can tell you, we are pretty new to the CHW world, but CHW have been around before the pandemic. I can say that CHWs, from my experience, they re-energize the community. They empower the community. Give me my points on empower, because
I heard that.
We fight for the community, and where they may not know that necessarily that there's a fight there. So we re-energize the community. We are health promoters. So my passion happens to be mental health. A lot of people think that my passion is like Zumba and teaching fitness classes, but that's because my passion is mental health, and I understand the connection between your movement being mobile and actually your mental health and state of mind. And so a lot of people think that that's different, but CHWs, I think, definitely re-energize the community. As a lot of the panelists said today, that they actually speak or is a louder voice for the community. So we are of the community. We are from the community that we normally serve.
Excellent, excellent. Juliet, are you ready to add on to that? Because it sounds like what I hear is that you all are touching our communities. You are empowering them. I'm going to use some of Elizabeth's words. We advocate for them. We're their voice. We are re-energizing the community. And how does that then all, as Tamika said, it's not just physical health, but it could also be the mental health that we're empowering. How are we empowering? I guess that's my question.
In our experiences, indeed, we do serve a lot where sometimes they just want to talk to us.
Okay.
Such as if they're isolated or they just came out of the situation. They just need someone to talk to. And I may be on the phone with one of our clients for a good amount of time, but that's what she or he needed, just to let out some stress. Maybe they were so sad this all happened the way it did. And maybe that'll be a turnaround time if the person got ill because they did not. We suggest maybe it's time. Lord works certain ways. You're fine. Maybe it's time to go get the vaccine. Or have this conversation with people and for me personally, sometimes I tell them, this is my number. You need something, call. And
so you all are not just giving the service and then backing off. You're also able to do some follow-up work as well.
Because COVID isn't gone,
Yeah.
Not gone. It's still here. So we need to make sure the aftermath of all of this, the prices are so high. And all, I mean, if I was able to buy 6 bags of groceries, now I'm only buying 3,
Yeah.
And my family and I are okay. What about someone who doesn't have an income,
Right.
So just reach out and make sure they're doing okay. If not, maybe they need some more food, maybe just making sure they're doing okay, and they could probably just tell me, I'll be fine. I'll call you if I need anything. Like, okay, fine. But it's just a matter of making sure our community is well.
Making sure our community is well.
Yes.
That's powerful. Making sure our community is well, health-wise, mentally, physically, especially as it relates to COVID.
Yes.
Melissa, I'm coming right at you because you're at the Visiting Nurses Association. I'm sure you're seeing a lot of people coming through the doors, not so much different than the other folks, but because you're at that association. Tell us more about how community health workers have impacted COVID, how you all have served during the COVID time, because I know that's why we have our grant. I believe that's how everyone became community health workers because of COVID. Yes. Okay, go ahead,
Yes.
Melissa. Take it away.
Yeah, I've been helping with COVID testing and the COVID vaccines, and and also educating the patients in the waiting rooms about why it's important to get the vaccine, because I've just seen, at the beginning of this pandemic, especially with the original variant, the original COVID, the effects were just so much more like long-term, and we just had to really, educate people about why the vaccine was just so important to like help with those symptoms. I mean, people were like losing their taste and smell, their ability to breathe correctly for months and even a year. And a lot of people just didn't have enough like education around how the vaccine could help them. And so with the VNA, that's something that we've been able to just really help people understand that, the VNA, I mean, the vaccine helps with the COVID, with your recovery.
Yes.
So being able to do that, we saw, more people being able to recover quicker, and I'm just glad that I was able to be kind of like a part of that. It was hundreds of people. Now it's a little bit, I think our community has gotten, all of the first 3 doses, but now we have another dose, right? So it's going to pick back up again. We just have to keep on encouraging, that we stay protected as much as we can.
So this COVID, it was scary, right? In the beginning, it was, people, they talked about it on the news every day about people dying. Are any of you like in the health field? Are you like nurses, or are you medical professionals? So that's what I want to tap into, because as community health workers, you all are out there, boots on the ground, right? And you are the ones that are really touching those folks who are right at that community level. I mean, who are going out and being that passionate, reliable person who connects them to a vaccination, or connects them to education, or connects them to maybe even a clinic that they should go to, because you've now learned not only do they have like this physical thing going on, but we had to deal with this mentally. Talk about that a little bit, Tamika, because I know you said that was like your passion, using Zumba. Tell us about that. How did you do that?
You know what? We did in the very beginning, last summer, we had a weekly free outdoor Zumba class, and that brought the community together, brought them out the house.
Yeah.
People weren't sure, what to think, but we were outside, so they felt more comfortable with doing that, and so once the thing about movement and working out and just a little bit of activity, it opens up the possibility to retain the information more, for people to receive the information more. So we throw some Zumba at them, and then we about the serious things about the health disparities in our community and things, get those endorphins and things going, and then we can, it's easier to transmit the information or the education. But as far as mental health, just like a lot of the panelists have said, having these conversations from, you know, people who currently had COVID, and, you know, the emotional part of it and the overwhelmingness of it. I remember early on, I had a client that was directly referred to me from the health department, and, you know, her whole family had COVID. They got COVID. She had 2 small kids, you know, and just very overwhelmed. She was crying on the phone, you know, and, you know, I had been through things like that where I felt overwhelmed. So sometimes when we're overwhelmed, we get stuck. And, you know, sometimes it takes us a long time to become unstuck. And so I talked to her, and I listened to her. I listened to everything that she said. And, you know, she was just very overwhelmed. She had just started a new job. And then the whole family came down with COVID. So, you know, she had problems paying her rent, you know, and she just moved to a new place. And so, you know, we were able to help her. She wrote a fantastic letter to IPHA to explain the entire situation. And this is a relationship building situation. It is not something where it's a one-time, even if we just get them groceries, it's not a one-time thing. You know, they come back and they call us later on. You know, she just called me like a couple of weeks ago, and she told me how, you know, everything was going great with her job. President Michael Childress of the DuPage County NAACP, he personally delivered her check for her rent that we helped her pay through this grant for the CHW work to her land. And so they feel more connected. They feel like they're not alone when we're able to step in and kind of, like I said, re-energize them and give them the energy that they're going to need to continue on with whatever it is that they do in life, you know, with or without this pandemic. So I think that it's a long-standing relationship. She comes to my Zumba classes now. She's like, I love Zumba. Like, I can't wait to get back. I was like, wait till 10 days, you know, and you can come back to class.
Don't start infecting everybody.
Yeah, so it's a full-on experience, and like I said, I've enjoyed the relationship that we've built with the, you know, with our partners in the communities, the other leaders in the community, and we're trusted. You know, we're trusted in. So what we say, we have to make sure that we are saying the right things, because and so I think that's a very big part of the work that we do is for the community to trust you, to trust the things you're saying, to make sure that they believe that you have their back.
Now I have a couple questions of something you said. You mentioned IPHA. Who is that?
The IPHA, I've been saying this so many acronyms. IPHA is Illinois Public Health Association.
Yes. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I bring that out because Illinois Department of Health, IDPH, is they're the ones who gave out the grant, correct? And then IPHA, which is the Illinois Public Health Association, they are the ones who received the grant. And then each one of these organizations that are on the panel here today, as well as Quad County, was like they call it a hub and a spoke, or a sub-recipient. So we were all sub-recipients of the grant funds that came from the state in order to help our communities to become stable again. I mean, COVID knocked us all out, right? It closed us all down. It shut us down. So Elizabeth, at this, you said you were at the Spanish Community Center. What were some of the things that you experienced as far as some of your clientele that, and I know you didn't see them, and let me clarify, folks, nobody saw these people because it was COVID, right? So this was all virtual or on the phone or referral. How are you all serving them?
Well, we serve this in numerous of different ways. First, we would get the resource request through Salesforce, and then they would go and they would hand them to us, and we would go and we get in contact with the client and ask them if there's anything that they need. And there were a variety of things that we helped them out with food, different type of resources for any housing assistance, mental health assistance. And I just want to add on to what Juliet was saying. A lot of our clients, sometimes they didn't always need assistance. What they needed was just someone to hear them, someone to be there for them so they can vent. And that's something else that we definitely provided for them. And like when you sit back and you think about it, you're like, wow, I can actually do this for someone. And it's rewarding in a way.
Yes.
And
I can see that because you just kind of lit up. You had this big smile as you were thinking about what should I say, and it's just rewarding.
Yeah,
I see that in each of you, how you all light up when you talk about this. Michelle, what does it take to be a community health worker? Who, and why? Why did you say, oh, I see, oh, community health worker, let me go apply for that job? What causes that? And what's required? You are still on mute. There you go.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Oh, because it didn't change colors on me. Okay, good. Okay, so yes, this has been it was an opportunity, first of all, to be of service and to have the purpose that I was called to be. And I asked God to please let me be of service for those that you see fit for me to be of service, but your purpose, not mine.
Yeah.
And I've always expressed that, and now you get to hear my prayers out loud because it's not Michelle's purpose. I asked God to use me for his purpose. And I, am certainly excited, and I'm glad you're seeing everyone's face and smiles light up, because each and every one of us have been in a space where whether it's someone needs a link just to log in and apply. How do I get there? And sending them a link to get there, sending them a link on how you have this conversation. Some just simply ask, how do I start the conversation, or do I just answer their questions? You can still start a conversation in the midst of all the questions. And here's how you prepare for any, whether you're most interested in utilities or most interested in whatever their areas of skills and experience has been, to provide those type of links. So it's still a navigation experience for each and every person that was seeking some level of support. It is support to navigate, to guide you through a process. I'm not saying it changes because you are in this circumstance, but that term navigation is going to be a way to and from, and once you get there, how best to respond.
And when you talk about navigation, are you talking about navigating referrals or navigating, because I've also heard you all talk about paying someone's rent or paying their utilities. Was that a part of as community health workers? Were you doing some of that work as well? Julietta?
Well, yeah, and then certainly go ahead, because at a minimum, you want to get them to the rental assistance programs. That's for sure.
Yes, indeed. Especially our Latino community, most of them have a difficult time understanding how to get in. They work. They're working class. They work a lot. So technology sometimes is not that easy for them.
Yes, yes.
When they come to us, sometimes we'll just walk them through the process, or maybe I'll just ask them, okay, what is your name? Da da da, and I'll fill it out for them, and then
So you're actually helping them to fill out forms that will help them to get their rent paid or get their whatever assistance they may need.
And also, like right now, other organizations like, say, People's Resource Center, reach out to us. So they have some resources. So we try to get them to somewhere where they'll speak Spanish. That's very important for us.
It's important, right?
That's just the way they're gonna know they're gonna get something they need, and explain what's going on with them. So yeah, it's just trying to be, we can't hold our hands, but to virtually do it, to walk them through, so that they get what they need. Yeah, the bottom line is to get the help they need. So.
Well, I have a little tidbit of information here from one person that we all know, Melissa Mooney. She shared some background on what community health workers are, and it says that they actually first emerged in Eastern Europe in the late 1800s. So again, when this came about, I thought that, oh, community health workers, this must be a new thing, because of COVID. But no, they've been around since the 1800s. They were known as Feldshers. Now, I don't know what that is. But they were the forerunners for the modern CHW movement and partial inspiration for this first large-scale CHW program, which actually launched in 1950s era, and they called them barefoot doctors because they weren't, actual doctors. They were like you all, community health workers, helping people in the health arena as much as you can, and then making those referrals as you go out. Now, we've talked a lot about the needs of community health workers, helping people to understand applications and making referrals, or even supporting them in their household, especially during this COVID era. What happens? How will, as this says, 1800s, how do you see yourself serving the communities once this COVID era subsides? I'll just put it out there. Melissa, go ahead.
I think just still being like a person that people can, reach out to and ask questions about applications, ask questions about services. So just still linking them to the healthcare system, because there's a lot of maybe disparity in that area. So just still just being someone that is being linking them to resources. And
sounds like that bridge again, being that bridge. So you all
closing the gap.
Closing the gap. So we talked about that in one of our other health talks. We had some folks here, some doctors, about closing the health disparities gap because of the fact that, certain communities don't get the health care they need, or certain communities don't have a PC. What is it? What's a PC? Personal doctor.
Primary care.
Primary care. I can never remember those two words.
Personal computer.
Personal computer, exactly. A primary care physician.
That's what
I'm sorry, Leata, what were you going to say?
That's what I would have thought first.
Personal computer. A primary care physician, and the importance of that. And I'm sure you guys have even seen that during COVID, especially because, as we know, COVID really affected those folks who had pre-existing conditions, or, you know, they just hadn't been to the doctor, didn't know they had any conditions. And so just educating the community about the importance of wellness, right? I love what you're doing, Tamika, as far as offering Zumba for free, because many times people don't go to the gym just because it costs to go to the gym. Why does it cost to go to the gym? Well, I know why it costs to go. They have a building. But it costs to go to the gym. So why not do it outside? Why not do it in the fresh air? Why not take in not only the carbon dioxide that we need and the fresh oxygen, but then also move our bodies while we're doing it? The body in motion stays in motion. That's what I'm told. I guess that's what Einstein said, actually. So with that, I want to talk about maybe what is one of your most memorable experiences that you've had as a CHW? You guys have been doing this since 2020 or 2021?
2020.
2020. Okay. What's one of your most memorable experiences that you've had as a CHW, community health worker?
Oh gosh. I'd have to say there are quite a few.
Yeah.
Where there was a whole family that became ill, and nobody could do anything. They were all just the father. He was so sad, depressed, because he just felt his whole household was coming down. He was working and being the breadwinner. He had lots of anxiety and worrying about, in our Latino community, and maybe it's in everyone too, but the breadwinner, the father always, or the husband, and there's so much stress on a man when they cannot do this, when they cannot provide, and the world's caving down on them.
Yeah.
So I think that was the most trying to, I would, mute the phone, so if I had to cry, he wouldn't hear me. But trying to take the little bits and pieces he was telling me and put them together so that he knew we were going to help him. We were going to make sure his family was going to be okay after
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Elizabeth, what's your most memorable experience that you've had as a CHW?
Like Julieta said, there's so many, but I think one that really comes off the top of my head is there was a woman who she was an older woman, but she had special needs, and how do you call it? And she just kind of wanted someone to talk to. And at first we didn't know, like we asked her, if you need any more help, feel free to call us. And we do really mean that. And like later on that night, we were way past office hours. It was like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And she calls us crying and saying that, like what to do, right? What to do with COVID. She's asking us for advice. She's asking us like to help her out. And, we even went out there to go and deliver medicine for her, because that is allowed in our grant fundings. And honestly, like she also called us like twice later on that week, but she was just venting on the phone and she was just crying. And I don't know, it was just nice to provide that safe space for them to vent to. It was nice to provide that space for them to want to express themselves, to not always like, know that they're not alone. Like during the pandemic phase, humans are naturally built to be social beings. And when you strip that away from them, it's like, where do they go? So I don't know, it was just nice. Like, even though it was past office hours, it was nice to provide that for her. It was nice to definitely be there for her. Even if we didn't necessarily know that she was going to call, it it was a nice surprise, you know, that we can provide that for her, just, you know, for that social interaction, definitely.
Yeah. You know what? That brings up, I love that you talk about seniors because I love seniors. My mom is still with me and she is a senior. And believe me, as much as I complain about her, I love her to death, right? Because she is a senior. And there's actually the community health worker lunch and learn that's coming up this Friday. Is it Friday? That is about seniors and isolation. So I can't imagine, like, think about seniors who have been in a nursing home already and they've been isolated from their family, it seems, but then it actually happens. Like you said, we were just stripped of our social life during COVID. So, Tamika, what is one of your memorable experiences as a CHW?
There are so many, I call them wow experiences, WOW.
Yeah.
And I learned that from my sales days a long time ago. But we call them wow experiences where, you know, the client was, you know, exceptionally pleased with what we did and just so grateful. The word God comes up all the time where, you know, this is just comes across as God's work, and we're doing an awesome job with that. And I had a client who was way pushed back into Joliet, and she was so concerned about her job and losing her position, and that she worked all the way in Broadview, Illinois, which is the same area where I grew up, which is miles and miles away from where she lived. But she left her laptop at work, was not expecting that she was going to be out and hospitalized for COVID or anything like that. So she's like, you know, been hospitalized, and her son was hospitalized because he had some underlying health conditions as well when he COVID, you know. And so we had a couple of situations like this. I drove myself in and picked up her laptop from work and brought it to her all the way in Joliet. And she was so thankful. She was so thankful, you know, on every holiday now. This is a couple of months ago. Every holiday she's calling me or sending me a text message like we family and things now. You know, everything is going, you know, and so I'm just like, that's amazing. And you know, it's just a great feeling. I had a client with one of my CHW, Margaret Childress. She had a client that she prayed over, you know. Of course, she asked and she asked if this is something, and they had a whole conversation about prayer and how prayer works, you know, to get you out of situations that you just overwhelmed and there's nothing else that you can do. And it was just so touching, and we just do everything. You know, if you've done the work before, you see that it involves everything. It involves you to be very resourceful, you know. So I'm on conferences and having these talks with, you know, other community leaders all the time, just to kind of brainstorm and continue with the creative and clever ideas about how to help the community.
Yes, I love that you use the term resourceful, because what I've seen, I just at the CHWs that I know from the Quad County Urban League, I've seen these women go above and beyond. I've seen the stories where they're driving to Timbuktu because there is no Walmart, there is no grocery store, there is nothing in their area where they can have groceries delivered, because I know that some of the resources that we provided, the groceries or cleaning supplies, and they're in their cars here in Aurora, then driving to Timbuktu on a Saturday, and then driving back home, and then continuing to take additional calls. And so that's the work of a CHW. And I know I've seen that happen amongst you all. And it's so appreciative. We so appreciate. I'm just going to give out appreciation right now. Take a moment for appreciation. Michelle, tell us one of your memorable experiences. You kind of started out at the beginning telling us about the family of five, but I won't shut it down to that. You tell us what your favorite story is.
Well, that is the family I would certainly speak on, because she felt like it's just so many of us. She said, will you all help us, even though it's 5 of us? But sometimes so-and-so's coming to see about us, so-and-so. So this is why she gave me this list of, oh gosh, it was over 30 items on the list. That was her food list. Cleaning supply was not, something that was like mandatory. It was the basic foods, the bread, the meat, things like that she felt like, okay, she put those on the list, but then she put all of her soups. And so likes this kind of soup. So won't eat chicken noodle soup. So doesn't eat that. And just to think of her story and to be on the phone with her, not for 30 minutes, for a whole hour. We just continued to talk. We had spiritual connection as well. And because we both come, celebrate the same faith. So this particular person, that's why I continue to remember her, is if I could just pick up the phone and call her, and I call her Miss JB, but because she had so many that she was trying to be in service of. The other person I want to speak on at this time is a gentleman. And we said, someone said something about the men and men being a provider, protector, and
yes.
All the greatness the men, are. But this gentleman, he did not trust the government. He did not trust any kind of nonprofit. He said it specifically. Oh. You're with who again? And you do what again? Y'all gonna deliver that disease to my home.
Oh, okay.
I said, Mister, that's not going to happen. And we'll make sure you are able to get food. But to hear him speak on it in that fashion, and he said he did not trust going to anywhere else to pick up food. He doesn't like food pantries. He said that's a disease in and of itself. This is a man talking. So as we talked, and I backed him off of that a bit, that it will be delivered to your home. They'll leave it on your porch. They may ring your doorbell and walk away. So it's on your porch when you answer your door. And he didn't trust that, and he didn't believe it at first. And once we got it delivered, he called back and said, oh, you was for real. I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't think the government would support you in making sure food and supplies actually get to the home. I thought you were just talking. You're with a nonprofit agency. So how else can you do all of this? I said, it's still the Illinois state is doing what they can to support, and they support us, and we're going to support you.
Shout out to Illinois State. Amen. Amen. And all the states that actually provided that support and fundings, and the federal government, and how they've done it. And just helping us even get back to work, right?
Yes.
Melissa, tell us one of your favorite stories.
I'd have to say one of my most memorable experiences that I had was I had the opportunity to work closely with a woman for over 7 months with tons of follow-ups. This was
7
a woman
months?
that
Sounds like a lot of follow-up. Yes.
Yep. So this woman, right before she got COVID, had actually separated from her partner, and she's also a single mom of 2 kids. So getting COVID, and she became completely weak, very sick, and she still had these 2 children to care for on her own. So we started out with food and resources getting delivered, making sure her kids were gonna be okay, getting just some easy meals for them to heat up on their own. And that's how this started. But as time continued, she actually developed cerebral palsy because of COVID. So,
wow.
So half of her face became paralyzed. And now she she needed to go to the doctor, and she was afraid because she didn't have proper health insurance. We had to let her know that if it was in relation to COVID, she was going to get service, and then also help her to start to apply for health insurance. So that took some time, and I'm happy to say that as of today, her cerebral palsy has is almost completely like gone from her face, the paralyzation. So I'm happy to say that, but it's just been an entire process. So being on her own, having cerebral palsy and COVID, not being able to work, and having these two kids to still support, she still needed more help other than groceries and supplies. And going to the doctor. It took a big toll on her kids. They were in their teenage years, but one was in their teenage years, another one was under 10, and they became really depressed. They didn't have their dad anymore, and she was undergoing, she was paralyzed and couldn't do anything. So they were under a lot of stress. So I got them connected to therapy and some mental health resources there for her kids. And then also she needed help with rent. The grant allowed us to be able to help with that. Thankfully, we were able to help with 2 months of that. But because of her condition, now I had to look long term. How can I get you some long-term help? So we tried a couple different things. What ended up helping was ihda.org, getting her to apply there with her landlord.
What does that stand for?
Illinois Housing.
The Illinois Department of Housing Authority. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so we got her to apply and the landlord. That's how it works. They both have to put in their application. So that was not a quick turnaround. It took about 3 months to get an answer from the state, but when they did answer, they helped not only for that current month, but they backtracked and paid the previous ones and even an extra month that she needed. So it was a big relief off of her shoulders. And all this time, she didn't have any support. I forgot to mention that besides being a single mom, she's also a recent immigrant from Colombia, and she didn't have her family here either. So she really needed someone to talk to, and I was just happy to be there for her, to be that support. She's, we built a lot of trust over the months, and just being able to see that we could help her and help relieve that stress off her shoulders. Right.
So you became her family.
Yeah, I told her, I was like, you know what, ma'am, as soon as this, you don't have COVID and this thing's all over, I'm gonna have to visit you. I'm gonna have to visit you in person. She said, oh, I'm gonna make you some bread. So I'm gonna make you an empanada. She was so thankful just for all the help, the support. We just kept following up all these months.
Well, one of the other slides that I have here is that in 1970, a formal recognition of a major ramp up on a large scale program for CHWs was passed. So in 1978, the International Conference on Primary Health Care at another country was the first truly global health conference, and it cemented the CHWs as a cornerstone of the effort to really get out on the ground, have CHWs in the community. And I say in the community, but this was a global health conference. So community health workers are not only a resource within the United States, but they've also been, as in the 70s, their voice became a rallying voice for the American Public Health Association, APHA. A community health worker-led section was initially created within APHA called the New Professional Special Primary Interest Group. But I said all of that to say that as a result of this passing bill, the fight for CHWs in Asia, Africa, and South America came to pass. And so CHWs take fight against inequities and advocate for communities' rights and needs and for government structures to be changed. You guys do a lot. Basically is what I'm saying. And where it can be easy from that day to day looking at you and thinking, oh, they do resource requests, right? But it goes way beyond that, and we see that. So how do and I had a question here, how have you impacted your community? The stories you just told tell us how you've impacted your community. I totally see the work that's being done, not just once the work is done with an individual, that individual tells another individual and the word gets out. And so now people don't have to, I'll use the word suffer alone, suffer in silence. They know that they have a resource, and not just a resource request, but resourceful people that they can contact. And it sounds like each of you have provided that type of support for others within the community. Tell me again where you're located, I know we've said regions a lot. And I think even beyond your regions, the grant has covered Illinois, basically, right? They covered Illinois. So each of you serve, I think, pretty different regions. I heard region 7, region 8, region 2. What is the regions about? What are those? And where are they? Tamika.
So I'll go. So the regions are big. Obviously, it's bigger than. But since we serve DuPage County NAACP, we serve as an organization. We serve DuPage, Kane, Kendall, and Will.
Okay.
So the regions that we were in, 2, 7, and 8, covered. They were within all of those regions. So we were in 2, 7, and 8 originally, and then right now we're only within this particular grant we are serving region 8, which is DuPage and Kane. But because of our organization, we service the communities within DuPage, Kane, and Kendall and Will. They try to, make sure that we covered all of those within those regions.
Okay, and it sounds like there was some overlap. You guys, everybody pretty much was region 7, 8, so Kendall, Kane, Will, DuPage, Kankakee, Algonquin, I think Algonquin, but I know that Kankakee and Will counties are in region 7. And so that's like all the cities within those counties. I know when we name off, it sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4 places, but I think I have a map that shows that there's like 20 cities in Will County, 20 cities in Kane County, about 5 in Kendall, 30 in DuPage. So that's a lot of territory. That's a lot of territory. And those are just that's actually just region 8 for Kendall, DuPage, and then region 2, Kane and DuPage, and then Kendall counties. So how did you all expand yourselves to impact each of these communities? Are there multiple of you in your organization? Is it all telephone work? How are you going out and impacting the community? And I know you said the resource request, but go ahead, Julieta.
I could share that. Well, our organization, we're probably, let's say, that help each other with this. Maybe 8 members that are
Okay.
in this
Mm-hmm.
program, and it's teamwork where we're all from different towns. I'm from West Chicago. Someone else is. There's my colleague Cristobal from Wheaton. There are others from Glenville Heights, Villa Park, and there's someone from Aurora that he's in the heart of Kane, the Kane County area of
Is it
Aurora.
Christos?
Yeah, and he that's the other gentleman, Cassie Cuevas. He's
Okay.
from Aurora. So depending on where we're from, we try to go out that way or around our towns too. It's always like a teamwork thing to get the word out of what we're doing, whether vaccine clinics. We have had the mobile market food pantries with Northern Illinois Food Bank now for a while. We have that every 2 weeks on Mondays. And so we try to, call those we have served. We also try to expand, like dropping flyers at the different towns we're from and where we have served people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how they find out where we're at and our number, and if they need something, they call us. And it has worked that way. So.
And you all did a vaccination clinic where you had the mobile vaccination van come out. Was that your organization that did that? Had 150 people? Or
we were working with IEMA ourselves.
okay.
I think it was a different DuPage. It could have been Access DuPage or something.
Okay.
They had they're the ones that have an actual van coming around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we've been doing
has that too, Melissa, right?
Since the winter, IEMA has us make them inside, although not anymore. Their contract ended. But during the winter months up until March, of March, we were doing them inside. We were doing in Aurora the last month of March. We were out there at a Sacred Heart church, and we did about three clinics over there because the vaccination rate in Aurora is low among the Latino community. So
say that again.
That was a concern. There was like 40%.
Wow. So
yeah.
I want to stop there because that's important. Because again, I didn't say this in the beginning, but once we post this will be posted on YouTube. So we know we don't really have a lot of audience here now, but the whole point is really to have the conversation. So then once we post it, there's more education going out to a broader audience. So you just said that in Aurora, the vaccination rate among Latinos, Latinx folks, is low.
Yes, it is.
So I want to say that, and I want Melissa, I want you to speak to that because I know you work with VNA and they have the vaccination van or have had it and are available still, even if come to the clinic to get vaccinated. Which is COVID vaccination is very important. So I want to speak there for just a moment. Go ahead, Melissa.
Okay. Yeah. So we were doing the mobile vaccines at grocery stores, at schools, just in many, many different areas to get a lot of people vaccinated because, like Julieta mentioned,
Urban League.
Yes, Quad County Urban League, we have one there too. But and it's still to this day, more people still need to get vaccinated. Somewhere I would encourage people to look if you're still hesitant about the vaccine and have questions or have maybe rumors about the vaccine. I would say a good resource is the conversation between us about us. If you look that up on Google, the
And what was
conversation
that? The
between us.
conversation between us about us.
Yes.
All
If
right.
you go
Okay.
there, there's answers to all the questions about the vaccine, and it's presented with multicultural doctors, all sorts of doctors. So it's not just one-sided conversation here. This is so you can see that how important the vaccine is, and you could see who the information is coming from is not from just the government trying to get you to get this just because, but because it's very important. So I would encourage looking there. And then, you know,
And is that on YouTube, or where will they find that?
So they could go on Google and just type that in, but let me, is there a way to pull it up? Let's see. Can I share my screen?
Sure.
Or you can.
So I actually just typed it into the chat so that it'll be there. The conversation between us and for us.
About us.
About us. Okay.
Yes, the conversation between us about us. I'm trying to pull it up if I can. A moment. Sorry. All right. Because they can find it at greaterthancovid.org, but you can also, if you typed in the conversation between us about us, you'll see, yeah, greaterthancovid.org. So it's a really good resource, tons of videos, FAQs about the vaccine. That'll just make you feel more comfortable. Like, what if I'm breastfeeding? What if I'm, yeah, what if I'm a new mom? Is it safe? And those doctors are there explain exactly why you should get it. Yes. And how it benefits like you and your whole family. So
excellent, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, the VNA, you know, we have tons of locations, and so Romeoville, Juliet, Bensonville, Aurora, 2 locations, Carroll Stream. So definitely, I encourage, you know, visit the clinic. It's not that hard to get the vaccine. You don't have to have an appointment at this time. You can just come in. So
very good, very good. Thank you for sharing that. Now, ladies, for our final question, this is what I want to know. How has the role of CHW, you've been working in our community, you've been touching folks, not literally, but touching people that have been affected by COVID, bringing them out of this pandemic into our newfound freedom again, where we're almost not wearing masks, but we still are. How has the role of being a CHW impacted you? How has being a community health worker impacted you, Elizabeth?
Personally, I can say that I've took away a lot from just being here the 1 year, half volunteering and then half working for the SEC. And even as a volunteer, like I've obtained so much information that's been so important for the community. And the thing is that like it's impacted me by how do you call it? I guess by just having these resources that I can provide for the Latino community, especially since like the Latino community, they're so afraid to ask for help because a lot of them are immigrants and they're always thinking, well, what if they go and they tell the government, and they always have that constant fear in them that, well, maybe we shouldn't do this. And you know, we kind of provide that safety there for them. Just like, you know, everything between us is confidential. I'm here to for you, for the community. And even if we feel like we don't do much, we do a lot and we don't notice it. Like I was walking in the street the other day and they're like, oh my gosh, Elizabeth. And I was all like, hi. And then yeah, they're like, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. They're like, I know you don't remember me, but I remember you. And I'm like, Like, so I don't know. It's really, it's the little work that we do that goes a long way, definitely.
Yes, I love that. I love that you said you break down the, you didn't say it in these words, break down the barriers of fear. So important. I want to say the main reason people don't even go to the doctor is because of fear. And as you've all said, they're not getting the vaccination because of some fear of a rumor or the government or whatever it may be. And it sounds like each of you have really helped bring down those walls of fear. How has this impacted you, Julieta, in being a CHW during this period?
It's impacted me in creating a new awareness level every day. It's inevitable to hear someone saying, "Oh, you know, my so and so was isolated, blah blah blah," or my relative is sick, and they probably have no idea I'm a CHW. But right away, I go into action. You know, are they okay? Are they doing this? How you doing? Do you need food?
Right.
There's this mode already in my mind where I don't have to be on a computer or Cristobal calling me on the phone. Oh, we have this, you know. And if I am going to the store, it's just this new awareness inside you. And then like a call that, okay, I gotta jump in. Or at least tell them where to go, you know.
Right.
So and then sometimes in the beginning, I notice I get a look like, why are you telling me this? You know, or I'll be like, I'm a community health worker. And then I realized, oh, I didn't tell them who I was. And so that's just a new chip in our brain, I think, where we're thinking differently now. We're thinking of caring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that's huge. That's huge. Becoming a community health worker causes you to think of caring. I think you were thinking of caring when you signed up for the role, but you're saying, wow, it illuminated. As Tamika said, we have those wow moments.
Yes.
Tamika, how has being a community health worker impacted you?
So I think that the role of CHW has impacted me because it was something that was my path to become a CHW was it was a divine intervention. It was. And
you said you were in sales before, right?
Yeah, I've been everywhere.
Oh, you've been everywhere. Okay.
A lot of things. I've recently, before this work, during the pandemic, I was working in healthcare. I worked for a non-for-profit insurance agency. So a lot of that information is very helpful with the work that we do, insurance and helping clients with, knowing what type of insurance to help them along with applying or enrolling for insurance. It's very tricky. Insurance is just very complicated.
Yeah.
And so it's just really, everything aligned perfectly with how I became part of, of this program. And so it's just reaffirmed, re-energized, redefined, my passion for promoting health, in just a different aspect, in a bigger array of what it is that we do. And so I think that it's just, like I said, reaffirmed what I always knew. I just didn't know exactly how to get into that. But working with public health, it's just been very satisfying, very satisfying. Like I said, it's very purposeful work. It's very, it's God's work. And I think that, we all feel like we're doing purposeful work. And I think that, that keeps us energized, that keeps us going. And our job, I think, is to part of it is to re-energize the community, you know, and educate them. And it's so much work, but we're made for this. So I really, I'm so happy that, you know, I found this program, and, you know, how everything perfectly aligned. It's been awesome.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Is Michelle still with us?
I see Michelle G.
Michelle Griffin, are you still with us? I saw you and then I didn't see you.
Wait, can you all hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. How has being a
I
CHW impacted
I was trying to click on the camera. Yes, and I was like, yes, I'm here. I'm like, you're not on the camera. Okay, so I just had, you know, because I'm glad you said something, because I said, oh gosh, I can't believe this happened. Well, I intended to move my car earlier, but I didn't. And then I said, that's when you told yourself you would get your keys out of the car. I didn't. So I went and got the keys out of the car. So I'm so glad you came back around.
Good. Yeah, we know you're still here. How has being a CHW impacted you?
Oh, and I just heard Tamika say the same thing. Say the same thing, because I always was, praying how best, not just from a volunteer perspective, didn't mind volunteering, but to be of use and purpose, not just exist in society, but be of use and for purpose, far beyond the purpose I could have imagined. So I can't say, well, I imagined it. No, you didn't. So, so I'm thankful for that. And that's how I, again, when I was, wanting to and having a desire and praying to how best can I be used and how best can I be of purpose, that's when this actually came my way. And I mentioned it, amongst my family, and they, made me aware of the community health workers. And because I did the Census Bureau 2020, literally knocking on doors and trying to make sure everyone is counted and making a conscious decision, because they didn't want to answer the door. And I would say, well, you won't be counted today. So I've gone through that, and doing the Census Bureau, and then to come and do community, to become a community health worker. That's that to me is just, of course, it's not only been energizing, but it's been a grateful lesson learned to not only educate, but how to be, of service outside of being a community health worker, but to learn about what other agencies and other departments are doing.
Yes. Thank you. That's amazing. That is a very good point, because I've learned a lot about many of the agencies that are on our calls, the CBOs, community business organizations. I think that's what the B stands for. And so now I'm going to go up to Melissa, our other host. Melissa, tell us, please, how has this role impacted you since being a community health worker in 2 organizations?
I just feel like so grateful to, have been a part of both organizations. I feel like I've been in contact with so many people, and it just brings us all closer. Like, I get to experience what it feels like to build more and more connections. I think that's what this role has really helped. It's just, how would I describe it? It's just, we're like interconnecting each other, interconnecting organizations, and it's just, I don't know, it's been like really beautiful to like see how many organizations are out there doing the same work, and that re-energizes us as well, being able to have that contact with each other every week, and be like, you know what, I know Julieta from Spanish Community Center can help you with that, and just using each other as well, to help people have more awareness about what's out there. And I think it's just beautiful that building those connections.
That is wonderful. Well, ladies, this has come to the end of our conversation. We have about, what, half a minute left. Thank you, Tamika, for letting us know about community-based organizations, CBOs. And thanks to each of you from Quad County Urban League for being a part of our community health worker table talk tonight. This has been awesome. I'm hoping that as folks watch the video, that they'll feel like they have learned more about the community health workers who are in our community to help. With that said, we hope you will have a great night, and we thank you each for joining us, and we're signing off. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Lisa. Thank you.
Happy Easter to all.
Yes, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.